Tuesday and 84 on Wednesday. Another look at the short range, high of 89 today. Lows level off around 54 tonight. We should top off around 87 tomorrow. Get up to the minute weather updates from the Weatherology Weather Center. I'm staff meteorologist Paul Trombley on this NWKS radio station. Right now, it's 54 degrees.
If your saving for retirement strategy involves the phrase, "I'll get around to it someday, we need to talk." Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Chris Yost. When it comes to meeting your goals, time can be on your side, and there is no better time than now to get started toward your retirement goals. Stop by our office at 1110 Main in Goodland. Edward Jones, Making Sense of Investing, member SIPC.
Telemedicine for nephrology, rheumatology, and endocrinology consultations is now available at Goodland Regional Medical Center. Telemedicine is medicine delivered by doctors using advanced two-way audio-video technology, which enables a remote consultation. A live provider or nurse will aid the remote conversation, allowing a specialist to guide treatment and provide expertise when it is needed. To learn more, visit goodlandregional.com.
Why'd the kid jump off the boat?
I don't know. Why?
Peer pressure!
Oh, good one, Ned.
Ned isn't funny, but Ned owns a boat, and you don't. So every time Ned tells another one of his unfunny boat puns, you're going to laugh loud and keep on laughing until you get a boat of your own.
A pier where you put a boat.
Yeah, I get it.
And when you do get a boat of your own, make sure you save money by bundling it with your home, auto, or other vehicles with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Taking Nugenix Total T makes a huge difference for me.
Nugenix? That's the testosterone booster with TV ads with Frank Thomas, right? Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yes.
Text radio to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix.
Brought to you by Navage. Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Where is the best place to go to stream your favorite NWKS radio station? NWKSradio.net. Where should you go to find out what's happening in the area? NWKSradio.net. What's happening with local area sports? NWKSradio.net. Is the weather causing delays or cancellations? NWKSradio.net. Need tickets to the next big NWKS radio event? NWKSradio.net. The place to go to be in the know. NWKSradio.net.
As a customer-owned cooperative, Midwest Energy members elect their board of directors. Ballots for this year's director election are in the mail and must be completed and returned by October 4th. Election results will be announced at our annual meeting on Monday, October 21st, 10 a.m. at the Hilton Garden Inn in Hayes. We'll give away great door prizes, and all Midwest members are invited to attend. Midwest Energy, a customer-owned cooperative, making energy work for you.
They're having one hail of a sale at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. That's right, a hail sale where you can get massive savings on a new vehicle. For example, get a 23 GMC Sierra 1500 up to $20,000 off when you trade in eligible vehicle, now just over $37,000. A new 24 Chevy Tahoe RST, $13,000 off, now just over $59K. Plus 24 Chevy Traverse RS, $10,000 off, now just over $45,000. Plus many more. It's one hail of a sale at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Online at hurlchev.com.
Your livelihood is important to you. You work hard to succeed in your farming operation, crop, livestock, home, vehicles, and special needs. We have you covered. Discounts are available for new business, remodeling, hail-resistive roofing, multi-policy, and many more. Optional coverage endorsements as well for machinery, ingestion, and equipment breakdown. Umbrella coverage for additional coverage on your home, farm, and auto. See the girls at the insurance agency at 1020 Main in Goodland or call 785-899-5011.
Even though your attention has turned back to school with events and activities, you just can't forget everything going on at home. That's where your local Hoover Lumber Ace hardware stores in Goodland and Colby come in. Keep the lawn in check with mowers, blowers, and trimmers from Craftsman, Toro, and Ego. They are still your local Benjamin Moore paint retailer, and they still have that amazing selection of outdoor grills and griddles from Traeger, Weber, and Blackstone. Plus, their helpful and knowledgeable staffs are some of the best in the Northwest. It's all at Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby. Open every day but Sunday.
Hi, we're your friends who get super excited about the holidays.
We sure are, or this isn't the ugliest holiday sweater ever.
People think we're happy because we love peppermint lattes.
Or catching snowflakes on our tongues.
But really, it's because
it's Holiday Millionaire Raffle season.
It's your best odds to win $1 million.
That's dollars, not twinkling lights, but that would be great too.
Play the Kansas Lottery Holiday Millionaire Raffle. Get excited.
See kslottery.com for details.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4!
It's the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
Being a Nebraska football fan these past few years and watching this team week in and week out, I kind of compare it to like doing drugs. You know you shouldn't do it, but you can't stop. Kids, don't do drugs.
The region's only local sports talk.
Not this again.
Yes, this again.
Right. To the pros.
They set up the screen. McLaughlin has it with Miners out in front. McLaughlin's got a first down inside the 10, inside the 5. Touchdown, Denver.
The Blitz is presented by Pearl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank, as well as the Insurance Agency, Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work.
And Grossman lines it to center field, and that's down for a hit. Salvi scores. Here comes Gurriel with a bad throw to the infield, and Vance Wilson was all over it. And Robbie Grossman puts the Royals in front 3-0.
He sends it in the air to left field. Going back is Donovan at the wall. It's gone. Well, that's one back. Brenton Doyle with home run number 23.
Teddy with a good rip. This one's going to fall. Vargas rounding third, coming home. And walk it off. And walk it off. White Sox with a win in the 10th. Take that, history.
The Chicago White Sox trying to fend off history, being the worst MLB baseball team in history, continue to find ways to win. I don't know if anybody's following that story as well. We talked yesterday about kind of the playoffs and how it's the wild card races and all that stuff going on in Major League Baseball, which will update you here on that in just a second. But if you're not watching this, what's going on here with the White Sox, who once again are way out of this. It's all eliminated, but 38 and 120. They've won 2 in a row. They are 5-5 in their last 10. They are trying to find a way to not be the worst team in Major League Baseball. Now, they will be. They're going to lose a game here before it's all said and done. If not, it's an amazing story. But the White Sox, 38 and 120 is their record. And once again, they're 53 and a half games back. I mean, think about that. 53 and a half games back. Usually it's, sometimes in the 20s. Maybe it's in the 30s like the Marlins are in the NL East. But 53 and a half games back are the White Sox or the Guardians who won the AL Central. And the White Sox now playing for pride and trying to not be the worst team. They've tied the worst team in the 62 Mets. They're trying not to be the officially worst team ever in Major League Baseball. And yesterday, last night, a walk-off winner from Andrew Benintendi helps them at least stay even with the worst team ever and not become the worst team in Major League Baseball. Happy Thursday morning, everybody. Glad you're with us here on this September the 26th. It is a nice, crisp, and cool morning to get your day started. We are sitting at 55 degrees on our way to a high of 89 today. I don't think is it going to be the warmest day of the week this week? I think it might be. Yes, although the next 3 days or so are going to be upper 80s as well, so you probably won't be able to tell the difference. But 89 degrees, the expected high today here on this Thursday. As always, thank you for tuning in, no matter which way you're doing so, whether it's Goodland's Rocket 1025, simulcasting on AM 730 Gold, KLOE, the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, or NWKSradio.net through the audio stream on your phone or your computer. We appreciate you tuning in here on this Thursday morning, where we'll be visiting with St. Francis head football coach Grant Wigger is going to join the program today. Look forward to visiting with him about his Indians 3-0 start. First time since 2021 that they are off to a 3-0 start. And it's not that long ago, but I'm sure probably in St. Francis it's felt like a long time. That's a very proud football, wrestling town And to not have the success that they have had in previous years, right around the COVID era, to where they were the last couple of years and now getting back, I'm sure they got to feel really good about that. And Grant Wiggers has been at the forefront of all that. And so we'll talk to him about his team. And they have a humongous game coming up here tomorrow night against Decatur Community, which should be a really, really good matchup on the gridiron. So look forward to having Grant Wiggers on the show here on this Thursday. We will also get to NIL and what is known as the NIL holdout era. I saw that line this morning on the Athletics Pulse, their morning thing that they send out every morning, and it was a perfect line. The NIL holdout era. We talked yesterday about the quarterback from UNLV, Matt Sluka, who's holding out now to play football somewhere else because he didn't get the NIL deal. There's another athlete that's doing it, but in a different way, and I understand this one better. But once again, the NIL holdout era we'll get to coming up a little bit later on in the program. And of course, we have the NFL Power 5 as well. Week number 4 gets going tonight with the Dallas Cowboys on the road at the New York Giants. Boy, this is, and I know there's tons of Cowboys fans. They're everywhere. This is a game you can't lose if you're the Dallas Cowboys. If you lose this game, it is bad news bears. Really bad news bears. The Giants are really bad. Atrocious. Really, really bad. No quarterback. They gave up their running back to their rival in the Eagles. I should say they didn't give him to the Eagles, but he left and went to the Eagles. That stings. But yeah, I would say if you're the Cowboys, you've got to find a way to win this game. you need to win this game badly tonight. And my guess is, I was going to see, I don't even know if I can pull that up here real quickly, what the spread is on tonight's game. I'll look it up here. My guess is it's got to be at least about a 10. God, Dallas only by 6. Jeez, that seems ridiculous. I don't know. Dallas hasn't proven much, especially run defense. I don't know. We'll see what happens here tonight with New York and Dallas on Thursday Night Football on Prime Video. Before we get to the NFL Power 5, I want to go give you an update what's going on in that amazing wild card race we're seeing in Major League Baseball. The American League, the Royals with a win last night, 3-0, a shutout win over the Nationals. That's now 26 consecutive innings for Kansas City that have pitched have shutout innings. Their pitching has just been unbelievable. The offense has just scraped across enough to pick up a couple of wins. The thing is that the wins are just pretty much holding on to the spot they're in. They're not gaining much ground on anything because the Tigers continue to win. The Tigers have won 4 in a row with their victory. Yesterday, they're 8-2, and their last 10 are the Tigers. But because of the tiebreaker, because of the overall record against the Tigers in the regular season, the Royals continue to hold on to that second wild card spot ahead of Detroit. So very, very fascinating race going on. And the Twins are still 2 games back of the Tigers for that final AL wild card spot. The National League, a lot of the same. It's a 3-team race to the finish between the Mets, the D-backs, and the Braves, who are all within a game of one another. The Mets lost, the Diamondbacks won, so they are right now, Mets are ahead of the Diamondbacks because they won the season series. And so that they've got that half-game lead on Arizona, and the Braves are 1 game back of both of those teams. And the Mets and the Braves didn't play. They're going to have a doubleheader coming up on Monday, which is, I think, just the day before the playoffs begin, I think on that Tuesday. So they're going to play a doubleheader to see possibly who makes the postseason. Maybe it's one, maybe it's both. We'll see how it all ends up, but that's going to be a fascinating. Once again, the MLB has got a really fascinating race on their hands as we come down the home stretch of this baseball season. All right, we're right past a quarter past the top of the hour. As always, the FB Bank text line is open if you'd like to chime in at 785-899-2222. That's 785-899-2222. A part of the Morning Blitz. It's time to get to the NFL Power 5, the top 5 games I've got my eye on coming up here in week number 4 of the NFL slate. Once again, my favorite top 5 games, and I don't think it's a great slate of games this week, to be completely honest with you, but let's dive in.
The Power 5, number 5.
Starting out at number 5, I've got an NFC South, and people who have listened to this show before know I'm not a huge NFC South fan, But the New Orleans Saints off to a 2-1 start, an interesting loss last week to Philadelphia in what was not a very pretty game. 15-12, the Eagles gutted it out on the road there in New Orleans to get the win and hand the Saints their first loss of the season. While the Falcons are off to a 1-2 start, but they've been very, very competitive. The Falcons have lost by a combined 13 points so far this season. 18 points to the Steelers, who are unbeaten, and 5 points to the Chiefs, who are unbeaten. And they have a 1-point win over the Eagles, who probably should be unbeaten at this point in time. The Falcons have looked pretty good with Kirk Cousins under center. He's kind of bringing some life to those wide receivers and giving them a good ball to catch, and they're making the most of it. They've got good weapons all on offense. And defensively, I think they've been pretty solid. Giving up no more than 22 points in a single game is pretty darn good. So the Falcons are a good team despite being 1-2. The Saints, we know, are a very good team, a very highly offensive team. Derek Carr already with over 580 yards passing and 6 touchdowns. And Alvin Kamara has had a good start to his year as well. And Chris Olave, if you don't know his name, he's fantastic wide receiver for New Orleans. Going into this game, opened up as a 1.5 points favorite was Atlanta at home. That has now grown to a 2.5 point favorite at home. I still like the Saints. I think there's still quite a bit going on in New Orleans. They got a lot of good pieces. I probably see them winning this game, but I think this game will be very close, as the spread indicates. I mean, a field goal game between the Saints and the Falcons. Once again, that game will be a noon kickoff time, Central Time on Fox.
The Power 5, number 4.
Number 4, we are going to Indianapolis, where the Colts will be hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers are off to a 3-0 start. I don't know who would have tabbed them, not even Steelers fans. My brother-in-law is a Steeler fan. I'm sure he would say that he's shocked that they're off to a 3-0 start. Justin Fields has not turned the ball over. That's been the biggest thing. He only has 2 touchdown passes, but he has only 1 interception. He's 55-75 for 518 yards so far this year. He's done a good job. He's protected the football. And if you're able to do that, protect the football, and if they're able to run the ball, which they need to run it better, if we're being honest with you, they need to be able to run the football better if they're going to find success. If they can do that, they can keep this recipe up in winning. That's my opinion. But they haven't run the ball great to this point in time. But their defense is one of the best in the NFL, if not the best. They are out there completely shutting out opponents. No more than 20 points allowed in a single contest this year. TJ Watt is an absolute dude on the end. He is all in the back. He's everybody's backfield. It doesn't matter who they're playing. He is in everybody's backfield. I think he might be. It's either between him or Micah Parsons. And I feel like TJ Watt has just done a little bit longer, maybe even a little bit more consistent. I think he's the most disruptive player in the NFL is TJ Watt. He's just a menace everywhere he plays for that defense. And the Steelers have been opportunistic, doing a really, really good job. Actually, excuse me, I screwed up on my stat there. They haven't allowed any more than 10 points in a single game this season. In fact, they've allowed 26 total points through 3 games. I mean, the Jaguars defense gave up twice that in one game against Josh Allen. Heck, they gave up that in the first half against Josh Allen. So the defense has been elite for the Steelers. That's the biggest reason why they're winning, and Justin Fields isn't turning the ball over. The Colts, though, have a very good rushing attack. Jonathan Taylor has been phenomenal this year. He's ran for pretty close to 100 yards in every game, I think in 2 of the games so far. 3 touchdowns for him. Richardson, we know, can run the ball. He, on the other hand, has struggled holding on to the football. That's been an issue for them. But I think I like their combo. I don't trust Anthony Richardson to stay healthy all season. I like Jonathan Taylor a lot, though, and I think the Colts have a good idea of what they want to do offensively. So it'll be a good test to see if the Steelers can slow down the rushing attack of the Colts. But I think they had a good test of that against San Diego last week. So we'll see. I don't know. Number 4, though, is Pittsburgh on the road at Indianapolis in my NFL Power 5.
The Power 5, number 3.
I don't think I would have had this game on the docket when the season began, but there's something about these teams. I don't know what it is. I can't even put my finger on it, but an afternoon game in Arizona as the Cardinals host the Commanders. I think it's the quarterback matchup. I think that's the only reason why this game entices me. Kyler Murray, I always have loved watching him. There's something about short guys who are quick. I don't know if it's because I'm short and I wish I could run like that. The way that Kyler Murray is able to just kind of elude people and extend plays and either pick up yardage, and maybe it's the acceleration. It's the quick acceleration that he just all of a sudden think he's going to get sacked, and he's all of a sudden up the field, and he's got a few extra yards, and he's got a first down and extends the drive. Or he gets out the pocket and a little quick pass, and there he is, and they get another first down or a touchdown. Watching Kyler Murray is highly entertaining and fun to play with him on Madden as well. But 5 touchdowns and 1 pick for Kyler Murray, over 600 yards this year. He's been good. James Conner, the running back, really running tough as well, almost 200 yards rushing. But you throw in the fact you've got Jaden Daniels, who's out here with, over 600 yards, no turnovers so far in his first 3 games as an NFL starter. He's looked good. He's going to come up against some tough competition at some point in time and have a bad game. But I think this game might be really entertaining. I mean, they're expecting, both teams to get over 25, 30 points in this contest. And right now you got Arizona as a 5.5-point favorite. I don't know. I mean, I would have never picked the Commanders to beat the Bengals like they did on Monday Night Football. And those passes that Daniels was throwing was amazing. Now, I don't know if the Bengals have a defense to save their soul. That's a problem. It looks to be. But, man, this is a highly, highly, highly entertaining game between those two and the Bengals and the Commanders. And I think we could have another one possibly between the Commanders and the Cardinals. Is my number 3 game on the NFL Power 5 here in week number 4.
The Power 5, number 2.
Now we get to 2 really good games. I think these 2 are the head and shoulders above everybody else. It's in the NFC North or Norris division, as Chris Berman would like to say. The Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field, welcoming in their rivals from Minneapolis, the Minnesota Twins. 3-0, the Twins, the Vikings. What am I saying? The Twins are a baseball team. I hope the Packers beat the Twins in a football game. I would hope that for sure. Sorry, it's the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings, Packers from Lambeau Field. Green Bay's 2-1. They had a tough loss to the Eagles in the season opener, lost their quarterback Jordan Love. Since then, they've been able to get by with Malik Willis, picking up a 16-10 win over the Colts and a 30-14 win over the Packers. Those 2 games are not the most challenging games in the world if you're a Green Bay fan. And you look at the Minnesota Vikings, after they took down the Giants in the season opener convincingly, they've beaten 2 more than likely playoff teams, right? In the Niners and the Texans. And last week just rolled Houston, rolled them 34-7. The story maybe of the first 3 games has been the play of Sammy Darnold. 53 of 78 for almost 700 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 2 picks. This is a prime example of a guy who I think was left for dead. He was drafted by the Jets, didn't have any help around him. He went to be a backup at other places, just was a backup. Now he's getting a chance to show that if you give me some pieces in a good system, I can have success. This is what a lot of quarterbacks like Bryce Young and other failed quarterbacks are probably saying. Just get me in a system with some guys and I'll make it work. He's got weapons. Justin Jefferson, Aaron Jones, the former Packer running back, which I expect him probably to have a huge game against his former team, you'd think. But Sam Darnold's been great. There's talks that Jordan Love might be back for this game. I know it's a huge game in the division. I mean, they only get to play each other twice, and so these are humongous games. Green Bay is a 2.5-point favorite. That's just because they're at home. That pretty much makes this game even if it was played at a neutral site game, one would think. I still like the Vikings. They're just really clicking on offense, and defensively, Brian Flores has that defense playing very, very good. When you're able to hold Houston, who was, I believe, at pretty much full strength, to 7 points, yeah, that's really, really good. So, once again, I got Vikings and Packers at number 2 here in my NFL Power 5 for week number 4.
The Power 5, number 1.
Final game, top game, no doubt about it. And, of course, it's going to be on Sunday Night Football because they get all the best games. It's like they get the pick of the litter every single week. But the Baltimore Ravens at home hosting the Buffalo Bills. Look, Baltimore's got to be desperate as all get out. They're 1-2 at this point in time. 1-2 is where Baltimore sits right now. And they've got and they almost lost the game to the Cowboys, even though they were dominating most of that contest. The score is a little bit different. but they lost by 7 to the Chiefs, lost by 3 to the Vegas Raiders. They could easily be 3-0 at this point in time. They easily could be 3-0, could be the Baltimore Ravens, but they're not. They're 1-2, but they are at home, and they are taking on a Buffalo Bills team that is just firing on all cylinders. I mean, especially offensively. Josh Allen, over 600 yards, 7 touchdowns, no picks. That's another big thing here for Josh Allen. Notice the teams that are having good success, the turnovers are down. That's such a big key. Don't give up free possessions to the opposition. James Cook has ran the ball well. He's got at least 3 rushing touchdowns this year. I don't want to say it's not, it's still talented, but the non-big name wide receiver core that the Bills are throwing, that Josh Allen's throwing to, has really been good. It's almost, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like they got rid of you get rid of something bad and it actually makes it all better. Even though what that bad thing was a very talented piece in Stephon Diggs, it just looks like everything's gone better. I think Baltimore's defense, though, is still a pretty good defense. They're going to test Josh Allen and the Bills. And the Bills defense, which is banged up with a lot of injuries. They're missing a lot of key guys in the defensive back, whether it's linebacker or secondary. They'll be tested by Lamar Jackson and how many can they limit the amount of big plays that Lamar has. He's going to get some, but can they find a way to limit those here in this Sunday night game? So Bills and Ravens, my number 1 game in the NFL Power 5. By the way, Baltimore a 2.5-point favorite. Once again, they're at home, so pretty much an even game if played at a neutral site. I know. I think that game by far is the number 1 game in the NFL Power 5. So once again, recapping the top 5 games I got my eye on this week. Number 5, New Orleans at Atlanta. Number 4, Pittsburgh at Indianapolis. Number 3, Washington Commanders at the Arizona Cardinals. Number 2, the Minnesota Vikings, not the Twins, at the Green Bay Packers. And then number 1, you have the Bills at the Ravens. The top 5 games this week. Not a great slate overall. I mean, Thursday night tonight's not great. Some other games are like Los Angeles or the Rams at the Bears. Denver at New York. I don't know. Maybe if you're Henry Chisholm, who's really excited about that game, I don't know. I don't feel good for the Broncos. I think New York's got a great defense. They're going to really limit Bo Nix, and Aaron Rodgers looks like he found something. Philadelphia, Tampa Bay. That might be a little bit intriguing because Philadelphia struggles at Tampa Bay, even though Tampa Bay, I don't know. That game doesn't intrigue me for some reason. I don't know why. Cincinnati at Carolina. Boy, you hope the Bengals can get a win there. If they don't, that would be really bad. And how about Andy Dalton going to his former team or hosting his former team, the Bengals? And if he could beat him and get the Carolina to 2-0 in his time, that'd be nuts. Absolutely nuts. Jacksonville at Houston. You expect that to be a rout. Jacksonville looks like it doesn't have a pulse. New England at San Francisco. You got to think San Fran will blow the doors off that. Cleveland at Las Vegas. Both those teams are desperate for a win. Chiefs at the Chargers would be more interesting, but the Chargers are so injured. I don't know if that game is going to be much. And Monday night, you got another Monday night doubleheader coming up here on the 30th. Tennessee at Miami in the Toilet Bowl. Pretty much both those teams have looked atrocious so far this game. And then Seattle at Detroit, which might be intriguing. Might be. Maybe a decent I just don't know enough about Seattle really at this point in time to know. I know Detroit's good, and they're a 3.5-point favorite over the Seahawks. Your slate here for Monday night. So there you go. There's NFL Week 4 for you in the NFL Power 5. All right, it's right at the bottom of the hour, 7:30 Mountain, 8:30 Central Time here on a Thursday morning. Glad you could join us, no matter which way you are doing so. We'll take a break, come back, and Grant Wigger is going to join us next to talk a little St. Francis football. The Indians off to a 3-0 start for the first time since 2021. Look forward to visiting with him next here on the Morning Blitz.
The Farmers State Bank of Oakley has been financing agriculture since the day we opened our doors. Hello, this is Corbin, and we are proud to be your locally owned partner in ag. We invite you to come and visit with us when you need to purchase new or used farm equipment, or need any type of agriculture or business loan. We have the knowledge, experience, and financial resources to keep you growing. The Farmers State Bank of Oakley, a tradition of community and agriculture for over 115 years. Member FDIC.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning, this is Kate Thompson with the Anderson Trade Group. Today is Thursday, September 26th, and on the overnight sell side, December corn traded lower 3/4 cents at 4.14 1/2. March down 3/4 at 4.32 1/2. May down a cent at 4.42 1/2. And July corn down a cent at 4.48 1/4. November soybeans up 6.25 on the overnight at 10.59.5. January up 6 at 10.77 3/4. March up 5 3/4 at 10.90.5, and May up 5 cents at 11.02.5. Chicago wheat, the December contract higher 5.5 at 5.94 3/4. March up 6.25 at 6.14.5. May up 5.5 at 6.24, and July up 4 3/4 at 6.28. Kansas City wheat, the December contract higher 6.25 at 5.87 1/4. March up 6 at 6.01 1/4. May up 6 1/4 at 6.10, and July hard wheat up 6 1/4 at 6.15. On the stock market this morning, the Dow up 192 at 42,468. The S&P up 47 at 5,826. The Nasdaq up 320 at 20,512. Gold up $17 an ounce at 2,700, and crude oil down $1.63 a barrel at 68.06. If you have any questions about marketing grain or would like to talk about risk management options, give our Colorado office a call, John Hankey or John Stiles at 970-744-4484, or in our Kansas City office, myself, Tom Pluto, Jared Law, or Tyler Dosh at 913-7.
Suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
When challenging conditions arise, we don't back down. We up our game, outpacing the competition with innovations fueled by Bayer's R&D, keeping you equipped with an expanded portfolio, elite genetics, and additional local test plots. Channel leads the field, so you can rise above. See how you can save at channel.com/finance24. Read and follow pesticide label directions, grain marketing, and other stewardship practices.
Out here, we raise stronger people, stronger crops, and we proudly raise our flag to that. Let the weather, pests, and pressures try to beat us down. We only keep growing up. With the next-gen genetics, the pure acre-for-acre know-how of these soils, and a deep pride of our roots, we're born to raise. At Hogemeyer. Learn more at therightseed.com.
It's hard to believe, but it's been almost 100 years since McClure's Plumbing and Heating began serving the area.
McClure's Plumbing and Heating.
When McClure's opened its doors in 1930, Mickey Mouse and Superman were in their first year of existence. Now, over 3 generations later, like those icons, McClure's is still here and continues to provide service for all of your heating, cooling, and plumbing needs. Call McClure's Plumbing and Heating in Goodland today at 899-6229. That's 899-6229.
McClure's Plumbing and Heating.
Even though your attention has turned back to school with events and activities, you just can't forget everything going on at home. That's where your local Hoover Lumber Ace hardware stores in Goodland and Colby come in. Keep the lawn in check with mowers, blowers, and trimmers from Craftsman, Toro, and Ego. They are still your local Benjamin Moore paint retailer, and they still have that amazing selection of outdoor grills and griddles from Traeger, Weber, and Blackstone. Plus, their helpful and knowledgeable staffs are some of the best in the Northwest. It's all at Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby. Open every day but Sunday.
It's the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
Hey everyone, come and see how good I look.
Your daily dose of sports.
Hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, here we go. Feel it in my soul. Really need it so good. Gotta need it. Only takes control. Really need it.
8:35 Central, 7:35 here on a Thursday, September the 26th. Once again, 55 degrees on our way to a high of 89. Another reminder, folks, that the Flatlander Fall Festival is getting going here tomorrow evening. Going to have events at Chambers Park kicking off at 5, live music, a whole variety of vendors, delicious food trucks, tons of activities for the whole family all weekend long. Of course, the great car and bike shows. You can see those classic cars shining in the sun. Should have some great sunny, beautiful weather for it. And you can find out more information by going to flatlanderfallfestival.org, or to sign up for any of the car shows and stuff. You can do it there as well. And we'll be there as well, broadcasting live on Saturday from 10 until 4. So stop by and see us in the big rolling radio there on Main Street. We'll be over there in the corner of 12th and Main if you want to stop by and say hi. Anyway, we continue on our program. It's time to talk some high school football. We're pleased to welcome it back into the show just about a month after we had him on the last time. That would be head coach of the St. Francis Indians. That is Grant Wiggers, who joins us now. Good morning, Coach. How are we doing today?
Hey, good morning, Ross. We're doing pretty well. Excited to keep rolling here up in St. Francis.
I was going to ask you, you've been there, the coach, for the last few handful of years, and you kind of took over the program when things were struggling a little bit. And that's a very proud town, especially with their football and wrestling programs. And I'm sure that was, I'm sure it was tough for the town and stuff and of course, tough for you and the kids, to not be able to pick up the wins like you want, but to have to get off to this 3-0 start. I'm sure there's a lot of buzz around town with how the team is playing this early on in the season.
Yeah, that's definitely true. It's been noticeable to get a lot of people, see them in the street, see them at the store, see them around town, and they're excited about the start, and it's good to be back on top a little bit, but we've got a long way to go.
You had to know going into this when you took the job, there was going to be a little bit of a rebuild process, I'm sure, but boy, I think you probably knew that if you got things going, you'd see the light at the end of the tunnel. When did you kind of start to see that light a little bit?
Yeah, it was kind of a known thing, I guess, coming in, that we had graduated a lot off that team that had the state championship runs, and it was going to be a tough go for a while. But we kind of saw, so my first year, our juniors right now are 8th graders, and we saw them have some pretty decent success and a good group of motivated kids with some genetic ability. So there was hope on the horizon that as they matured, maybe we could have a little bit more success. And they've really been a class that's stuck together. And like we talked about earlier on, we had a good summer and a lot of football participation this summer, and that's been helpful carrying over into the start of the season for us.
Yeah, you mentioned that the last time we talked about the start just really getting going in the summer. Was this one of the best summers that you'd had there?
Oh, absolutely. It wouldn't even compare. The first 3 summers, Waite's decent participation, but football activities is very, very few. It's hard to get anything structured going those first 3 years. And this year, we went once a week, and we had pretty much a full team every time we went out there, and we got everything installed. And once football practice actually finally kicked off, it wasn't install time; it was go time.
Do you think the reasoning for the better shot was just maybe the team leadership of those like you talked about, that junior class you have, and your own seniors as well, really getting everybody to come in and be a part of it?
Yeah, I think that's been huge. They've really bought in. They believe in the process. They believe in it takes all of us. It's not just, hey, let's have a handful show up and hope that's good enough. It's let's get here and let's stick together and let's be a team. Let's be a unit. And that's the leadership we need.
We're visiting with the head coach of the St. Francis Indian football team. That would be Grant Wiggers, who joins us on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware hotline. What's your thoughts of these first 3 games? You've been pretty dominant against these 3 opponents.
Yeah, it's been a really, really good way to start for us. Didn't know week 1's always kind of a question mark. Quinter has just absolutely thumped us the last few years. So hoping we had a chance in that one, and we came out and really got off to a great start. And we kind of knew week 2 and 3 we were playing teams that were a little bit down, but trying not to get so much involved mentally in that game and just execute what we need to do. I tell you, our defense has been absolutely outstanding. We've scored 20 points defensively, and we've only given up 6. We got 3 defensive touchdowns and a safety, and only given up 6 on the season. So that's been really exciting. Offensively, we've been able to kind of spread it around a little bit. Hopefully we can continue that, but had decent run game, decent pass game to start off. So that's really exciting, and makes us difficult to defend as an opposing defense coming in, that you can't just lock in on one thing. You kind of have to defend it all, and hopefully we can keep that rolling.
What has been probably the biggest improvement over the first 3 weeks, you think, from week 1 here into week number 4 coming up?
I think mentally we're really, really gaining a lot. There's a couple things this week we're kind of thinking about, maybe let's try this look offensively, defensively, and kind of question it as a coaching staff. Is this going to be more confusing for us? Is this going to slow us down mentally? Do we need to just hold off on that? Or is it something that we can start to build on? And so we tried it early in the week, and they picked it up like no big deal. And so that's been really exciting, is that their football IQ is there, and it continues to improve, and it allows us to do things that we want to do as a coaching staff when you have kids that are locked in and pick things up quickly.
We're visiting with Grant Wiggers, St. Francis High School head football coach, on our Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware hotline. They're off to a 3-0 start for the first time since the 2021 season for the Indian football team. You talked about defensively. Why do you think why do you think you guys have been so good defensively through these first 3 games?
That's just kind of the kids we have. We got some tough, scrappy, hard-nosed kids that are really aggressive, and that defensive mindset just fits their personality really well. So it's fun to see them out there. I mean, there's still a lot of things we need to clean up. Over pursuing at times, which great effort, just take better angles. Finishing tackles, we're going to see some elite backs in district play, and if we don't finish tackles, it turns into 6 points really quickly in 8-man football. So that's going to be a point of emphasis. We got to clean up a little bit, but it's a fun group to coach defensively. They're hungry, they're feisty, and they're ready to get after it.
I feel like it's been a creative on the offensive side a little bit. I saw a stat line. I think it was Lane Todd, maybe it was Lucas Robb. I think it was Lane Todd who ran for a touchdown, threw for a touchdown, and caught a touchdown. When a guy can do the trifecta, that's a pretty good night at the office.
Yeah, it's really fun. The weapons we have, just being able to move a couple pieces around. Lane, Lucas, they both throw the ball pretty well. They both run the ball really well. They both can catch the ball. So it's not a huge surprise to us to see a stat like that, where rushing, receiving, passing, touchdown for either one of those guys in a game. And it's kind of fun as a coach, as a coaching staff, to be able to plug in different plays and different scenarios. So hopefully you can't overload on one thing, because we can come back with something the other way, or a pass off of it, or whatever.
Well, at the same time, too, in 8-man football, usually if you have one good really player, you could have a pretty good season. If you have 2 good guys, I mean, that really helps you out quite a bit.
Yeah, it's a blessing to have. We just got to stay healthy. It's fun to have. And receiving wise, we've had awesome performance out of our receivers. I think our completion percentage right now is something crazy in the 80 to 90% completion rate to start the season, which probably isn't sustainable, but it's been we've had some great catches. Dayton Fromholtz is a kid that's got some height and got a vertical to him, and he can run a little bit. We've actually had to move a couple guys around. Our leading touchdown receptor from last year, Wyatt Klunsman, as a freshman, due to an injury, he's been playing guard all season. So it's one of those things where really proud of kids like that, because you could come in and say, what are you talking about? I led the team in touchdown catches as a freshman. How are you going to play me at guard? But didn't complain, didn't flinch. Just like, okay, let's go. I'll play guard. No big deal. And moved one of our receivers down to tight end and just kind of shuffled things around. And there's been no, hey, I need more touches. You could hand me the ball 30 times a night. You could throw me the ball 15 times. It's just, as long as we're scoring points, they're good with it. And that's what you want to have as a coach.
That limits the amount of hair loss and gray hairs coming out of the head. That is for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
If you can certainly do that. Grant Wiggers, our guest, St. Francis High School head football coach. There's a couple more quick ones for you here. First and foremost, coming up with the schedule, a huge game coming up here this Friday against Decatur Community, which is, like you, a very improved football team.
Oh, man, it is. It's going to be an awesome game. I hope, anyway. They are extremely talented. They've got some kids that they can just flat out play. Their running back, Josiah Pattengall, he's just got elite contact balance. One of those kids that you hit and he kind of shifts over, but his legs keep driving and he keeps going. It's a kid you can't bring down with one guy. He runs through tackles. He slides off tackles. He's fast. They've got some other great kids. Gage Willoughby's their quarterback. He runs a little bit for them. He's a 20-foot high jumper in track last year. Or not high jumper, long jumper. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, 20-foot high jumper, man. I think the Olympics need to be he needs to get into the Olympics if that's the case.
Yeah. They got some big boys up front. Garrett and Gus Emig, who we had there in Goodland whenever I was there. They're up in Oberlin now, and they're big, physical, tough linemen for them, offense and defensive line. And they can just play. It's a tough matchup for us. They got the best of us last year, 2014, here at home, and we saw them at Hayes Camp, and obviously we're not keeping score there, but as a coach, I kind of felt like they got the best of us there, and then we saw them in Waukene for our jamboree and felt like they got the best of us there. So they've kind of got us 3 times in a row, so we're hoping we can flip the script a little bit here Friday and find a way to come out with a win.
Well, I personally think it's going to be, if not the game of the week, one of the top games of the week, no doubt, in Northwest Kansas when you guys welcome in the Red Devils of Decatur Community. Head coach of the St. Francis Indian football team, that's Grant Wiggers. Grant, thank you so much for spending some time with us here on this Thursday. Good luck on Friday, and with the rest of the season, we'll catch up soon.
All right, thanks.
Once again, great stuff there from Grant Wiggers here on the Morning Blitz. Yeah, I'm just really happy for Coach Wiggers. I know they went through some thin times these last few years, but to turn around, I know our good friend Connor Nickel of K-Preps and Sunflower Sports Solutions said he thought St. Francis would be one of the most improved teams this season. And right now they're living up to that in a huge game this Friday to try to continue on that really good trend that they are on. All right, we're right at about 12 minutes towards the top there. We'll take a break. We'll return, and we'll get into more thoughts on the NIL holdout era. That's next here on the Morning Blitz on a Thursday.
Since 1901, F&B Bank has been serving our local ranchers, farmers, and other ag-related businesses, and many of our team members grew up in the ag environment. That being said, we understand your business doesn't fall into a one-size-fits-all model, so why should your loans? You can count on us to understand the uniqueness of your operation and meet each one of your financing needs. Come see me, Casey Schilling, to begin building that relationship today. F&B Bank, member FDIC.
They're having one hail of a sale at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. That's right, a hail sale where you can get massive savings on a new vehicle. For example, get a 23 GMC Sierra 1500 up to $20,000 off when you trade in eligible vehicle, now just over $37,000. A new 24 Chevy Tahoe RST, $13,000 off, now just over $59K. Plus 24 Chevy Traverse RS, $10,000 off, now just over $45,000. Plus many more. It's one hail of a sale at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Online at hurlchev.com.
Hi, it's Andrew Hoiberg from Calcium Products. Rapidly correct and maintain your soil pH with 98G pelletized limestone to protect your fertilizer investment. Applying 98G at 200 pounds per acre provides a 9.4 bushel increase on corn and a 3.1 bushel increase on soybeans. Ask your agronomist about applying 98G pelletized limestone this fall and learn more at calciumproducts.com.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
Your livelihood is important to you. You work hard to succeed in your farming operation, crop, livestock, home, vehicles, and special needs. We have you covered. Discounts are available for new business, remodeling, hail-resistive roofing, multi-policy, and many more. Optional coverage endorsements as well for machinery, ingestion, and equipment breakdown. Umbrella coverage for additional coverage on your home, farm, and auto. See the girls at the insurance agency at 1020 Main in Goodland or call 785-899-5011.
You're tuned in to the Morning Blitz
Great call. Love where your head's at.
with Ross Volkmer.
Another thing to keep your mind open about as we continue make our way through the weeks here. Goodland High School Alumni Association, the Sherman County High School Alumni Association, has their homecoming parade and prep rally coming up October 4th. The parade will be getting going, I think, 2 o'clock? The parade will start at the Max Jones Field House, go up on North Main. And so if you want to have your car, your float, classic cars, convertibles, you want to make sure you're there at 1:30 there in the Max Jones parking lot to get prepared for that. So lots of things going on here over the next couple of weeks. We had a meeting yesterday talking about all the events coming up that NWKS Radio is going to try and be at. There's just a lot of things are going on. That is for sure. There's a lot of things going on in the world of college football. Not only are games, of course, happening, but boy, there's a lot of news. Yesterday, Utah State announced they're going to go and be a part of the new Pac-12, and the Mountain West Conference said, hold on here, UNLV and Air Force, we'll give you a lot more money if you stick with us in the Mountain West, and they have decided to do that. So UNLV and Air Force are going to stick around in the Mountain West Conference. And of course, the big news yesterday was the story of Matthew Sluka, the quarterback for the 3-0 UNLV Runnin' Rebel football program, who has decided he's not going to play anymore. He has not gotten his NIL stuff that he was promised when he came to UNLV. His $100,000, which isn't very much money probably in the grand scheme of things. My guess is a lot of quarterbacks in the NIL realm are making at least $500,000 to $1 million. But he is not getting that kind of money, and he says, I'm out. I don't blame him for that, even though there was no real contract. And that's the problem with today's NIL world, is that it's just kind of more he said type of stuff. UNLV said they didn't agree to that. Sluka's agent said that they did. There's a whole bunch of controversy there, whatever. I don't blame Sluka because he was promised this. He did not get it. The thing that just makes me mad is that this is the option that you have at this point in time. There's a young man yesterday, Bear Alexander, a defensive tackle for USC, who played a lot last year but isn't playing very much this year, said, well, I've used up my 3-4 games here this year. I'm actually going to redshirt and see if I can play again next year, or possibly, or more than likely, transfer and go somewhere else to play and keep that year. I'm okay with that one a little bit more. If you're not getting used or played as much as you would like, it's okay if you want to sit out a year, especially if it's the coaches, if it helps. I mean, I just am a firm believer that the coaches the coaches should be the ones to say, yeah, we want to redshirt you because we think we can bring you back next year and have more of an impact. It's a lack of a love for the game. I think that's what it really kind of it boils down to. You don't play the game anymore because you love the game. You play the game because you want to make money. And I get it. Look, it's great to have fun and do it. It's great to do what you love and get paid. That's the dream. But I don't know. I find it to just be a challenging time in college athletics from my personal perspective. And I bring it up pretty much every week on this show, but it's things like this. You've got a great quarterback who's leading this team to a great season. Maybe if they were 0-3, maybe a little different. You're 3-0, you're in the top 25 and you want out of this. It's just kind of sickening. Now, once again, I get it. He was promised something. They're not going to deliver. So he's like, well, I'm not going to give you my services. And now let's see how you do. I get that. I understand that a little bit, but that's also the part of the NIL era we're in, where there's contracts that are really not being signed, and it's just more kind of a verbal agreement or a handshake agreement, and that does not hold up in court. There's a lot of things going on, and I liked the days where, and if it was back in the day, and they could probably solve a lot of this problem if they put the transfer rule
back up to where it was, where, hey, if you want to transfer, that's fine, but you're going to have to sit out a year. That would change a lot. That's the thing about the NCAA. They could have prevented some of this stuff by being more prepared, but they also could have done a great job if they would have just left some things alone. The 1-year transfer rule, hey, you know what? Unless you get unless you have a good reason why you're transferring, you're going to have to sit out a year. That would prevent a lot of guys from wanting to move a whole bunch. Because if you're going to have to sit out a whole year, that's going to change the way you look at things. So I don't know. I can't get behind this new era. I can't yet. I understand that players need to make some money, and I'm okay with guys making money. I do think that it should be limited, capped in some sort of way. And I think, once again, if you are a senior in college, maybe the most you can make is $1 million. If you're a junior, you can make a $750K, $500,000, $250,000. The most you can make as a freshman. Like I said, build it up, incentivize it. Hey, you know what? You just, and that's the amount of money, that's, I don't know. I like that idea in my mind. I don't know. Once again, would it probably work? No, but it would be great. I would love to see that. Once again, when you start off in the working world, yes, you probably can get a big time contract if you're super, 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 super talented. Most people in the world, when they start off in their career, they're going to make the starting wage, and then they get better and they make more. They stick around longer, they make more. It's just kind of the way the world works. So I don't know. It's a sad, sad deal. And now we're seeing guys hold out, not only in bowl games, but now after 3-4 games saying, we're good. We're just going to wait till next year and more than likely transfer and go somewhere else. And it's just kind of sad. Sad. Great sport. Great sport in college athletics, and just kind of going by the wayside, unfortunately, at this point in time.
A 3-run walk-off home run, a game-winning walk-off with a walk-off.
His second walk-off hit of the season.
In walk-off fashion, that baby's go.
Well, yesterday, the Indiana Fever's season came to an end as they were knocked out of the playoffs by the Connecticut Sun. And so that means the first season for rookie Caitlin Clark is in the books. She became the first rookie in WNBA playoff history to have 25 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists in a playoff game. They asked her to grade her rookie season. She would say it was a solid season. Even though she set multiple records for 3-point shooting, and like I said, just really, really fantastic. Averaged 16 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds per game. Really, really good. Maybe a little bit of struggles early on, but really found her footing. And she's, whether they like it or not, is probably one of the main 2 faces of the WNBA going forward. She's been humongous, and I once again, I love that comparison we talked about, with Bird and Magic and how they helped grow the NBA with that rivalry. Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark could be that same thing for the WNBA that's kind of been lost in the wilderness for a long time. Now they've come together and going against one another, they've helped raise the interest. I mean, the viewership numbers for the WNBA is way high. And I think a big reason why is because of Caitlin Clark and other players as well. But I feel like Caitlin Clark is kind of spearheading that as well. It'll be fascinating to see what the numbers look like next year in her second season. That'll do it for us today. Thanks to Grant Wiggers. Thanks to you for tuning on in. We'll see you tomorrow on a Football Friday. It's been the Morning Blitz.
Rocket 102.5 KKC.